Hello, my name is Shelley Tatum Kieran and I am the Kitchen Hand. Today we're making black and blue hand pies from Allison Rowan's wonderful cookbook called Sweet Enough. And I love these pies because they say summer, and I also love them because I can hold them in my hand, and for me that is a very important feature. So the first thing we're going to do is make the pie crust. 2½ cups of flour, 2 teaspoons of sugar, 1 teaspoon of salt. We're mixing that all together in a bowl. I'm going to cut in 2½ sticks of butter. A couple of lots here. Got pretty easily into the batter. I'm already coated in flour and we're just getting started. That's par for the course. As you can see, there's no real rhyme or reason to this. I don't make my cubes all beautiful and perfect, but they're all going to work. It's all going to work out. I use the leverage of my pontoon over here. Sometimes I refer to it as my pontoon. Sometimes it's my special hand. She doesn't have a name, but that's coming next. Dump it all out on your work surface. Make a little well. Fill it to 1/4 cup. I'm going to pour it sort of in the center. Almost feels like if you've ever made homemade pasta. Oh, and I forgot a couple of ingredients. Totally typical. I'm just going to add the apple cider vinegar right now. You don't want to overwork pie dough. If you handle it a little bit less, it's flakier. I have some helpers here in the kitchen. I have 2 great big golden retrievers, Beowulf and Ladybird. They like to come in for the crumbs, the spoils. This is one of my favorite tools as well. This is also an OXO bench scraper. And what it just pulls everything together, and it works as a knife. Now when you're making a pie crust, it matters a little more if the 2 pieces of dough are even, but since we're doing hand pies, we're okay. Me with the plastic wrap, it's always an interesting situation. Look at that, it's working beautifully today. That's because you're here. And you wrap it up. As you can see, I do a really pristine job with the saran wrap. Really, as long as it's covered, I don't care. And then you put them in the refrigerator for a couple of hours, and when they're ready, we'll come back and make the rest of the hand pies. Okay, it's been a couple of hours in the fridge. The dough is ready to go. I actually take it out for just a couple of minutes to loosen it a little bit. I love this style of rolling pin without the little handles. It just works really beautifully. And roll it out. One thing that people often do is they turn their rolling pin. That's not what you do. You turn the dough. I'm kind of sorry that you don't have one of these. 16 inches in diameter. Big enough shape to make 4. I'm going to make 4 pies out of this, 4 hand pies. Outside pieces are going to be slightly janky, but I don't worry about that. I worry about how it's going to taste and will it hold together. Because in my world, imperfection is a virtue. It's the point of being perfect all the time. I'm going to cut it into 4 pieces. I'm back with my bench scraper, which I use for all kinds of purposes. And with the berries, we're going to mix in 1/2 cup of sugar and 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. A little bit about this. This is my mother's measuring cup, and my mother lived to be 92, and she's gone now, but she's always with me in the kitchen, always. And I have so many of her tools, and I use them all the time. And I love the thought that her hands have left an imprint where mine are now. 3 tablespoons of lemon or lime juice. I always go with lime. Lime brings out the flavor. So it calls for a little bit of lime zest. This is my OXO grater. The way I'm built, this grater works for me so beautifully. Look at the way I can just tuck it in this way and hold on to it. It stays sturdy. I love this grater. A little crook in there, just perfect for me. How beautiful that is. Oh, 3 tablespoons of lime juice. Handy dandy. And you're going to mix all that together. You can use a spoon, but I feel like it breaks up the berries, especially raspberries. Your hand is going to be a little bit gentler. And I mix that until I can't see those clumps of cornstarch any longer. I start with what I call the biggest contender. I put the point toward me, the little point of what's sort of a triangle. So it's about a couple of tablespoons of berries. You load that up kind of toward the back of it so the point is free. You fold the bottom part up and then you seal it like this. My mother's name was Barbara, and so we all called her Barb. So I'm going to say thanks, Barb. She's actually the person who inspired me the most in the kitchen. She cooked by instinct most of the time. Can guarantee it's going to be fun to eat. And the best thing about it is, it fits in my hand. You only need one hand to eat a hand pie. And I'm going to top it with sugar. And then you sprinkle a hell of a lot of, this is called Demerara sugar. It's just a bigger grain, and it gives them a nice, crunchy, yummy mouthfeel when you first bite into it. Let's get these in the oven. Time to taste the hand pies. They've come out of the oven. They're looking toasty and delicious. They held their shape, and so we're going to have a taste. The method is to take a side of vanilla ice cream, dip the pie in, and take a bite. You need to try to make this.